This year in the markets has been pretty tough on all of us, but especially for people as they're in the early years of retirement. But the news might not be as bad as it all seems, and that's what I'm thinking about today. So the other day I was looking up some information, looking for some historical data on the S&P 500, and I clicked on the three-year chart as I was looking for this information. And of course, this year's just been a bummer, right? Everything's been down. The S&P down 20% or so the first half of the year, right? Not a lot of fun. But I caught this chart going back 3 years, and it just struck me that looking back right before the pandemic, where things are to where we are today, it made me think about people that are retiring and have retired here. My wife Allison stopped working after 25 years with the state, basically January of 2020, right? And think about this, if you put yourself in these shoes, right? You're retiring in January of 2020 and you say, listen, I'm going to be off the grid for an extended period of time, and you take care of my money. When I get back, I'm going to need some cash flow off it, right? And you come back and sit down, 2.5 years later, summer 2022, you say, hey, John, I haven't looked at a newspaper. I haven't, read anything online. I haven't looked at our portfolio. What's gone on in the last 2.5 years? Think about that. So what happened? He left in January. About 6 weeks later, the entire world shuts down, right? I remember when March Madness got canceled, and then schools were closed, and businesses and travel, and we all thought, hey, in a few weeks we'll get through this thing. I know our schools were closed down for an entire year with kids at home. So you missed all this, right? If you were under a rock someplace. And then we had the election in 2020, right? Very contentious election. Today they're still having hearings on what happened in the Capitol, and where people died, right? There was people storming the Capitol on that. A big deal, right? Things you used to see in other countries, but not in America. The new president, did take over, and since then we've had inflation running rampant, the highest inflation we've seen in 40 years, gas prices spiking, and in the last 6 months we've had the worst start to a year in the S&P 500, or at least one of the worst in history. How'd my money do? Where am I on this? I'm going to be okay, right? And you look and you go back to January of 2020, and the S&P 500 is up over 20% in that time period. On an annual basis, you've gotten 8%, a little over 8% return, all right? Not exactly a calamity, right? Not exactly how it feels as we're sitting here today, but that's the fact. And of course, it doesn't tell the whole story, right? If you retired in January of 2020, you're not all in stocks, and you've got some international, right? You've got bonds, and it's as most of these what I'm thinking episodes are, it doesn't tell the whole story, but it tells something that we don't often think about, right? We've been through a heck of a lot in the last couple of years. We've still got challenges, right? There's inflation, there's there's things coming up, but when you look at what we've been through, it does give me some hope and some reason for optimism looking forward. And that's what I'm thinking today. As always, I'm interested in knowing what you're thinking. If you're watching this on YouTube, drop a comment down in the comment box or shoot us an email directly. And as always, thanks for watching.